This video will cover the structure of the government and the economic policies of the British Empire in India from 1757 to 1857. We are exploring the architecture of the empire, detailing how the East India Company engineered British rule in India. This century-long project had two main purposes: control and extraction. The transition from traders to rulers presented an unprecedented challenge. After 1765, the East India Company held the Diwani, or the right to collect revenue, from Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. The initial solution, Robert Clive's dual government, proved disastrous, culminating in the famine of 1770. This led to the inescapable conclusion that the company had to take direct responsibility for governing India. The British Parliament asserted control to regulate the company's corruption and private interests. The Regulating Act of 1773 established a Governor-General in Bengal. Pitt's India Act of 1784 created the Board of Control in London to supervise the company's affairs, subordinating it to the British government. Imperial control relied on the three pillars of the Raj, forming the, quote, steel frame of administration: the civil service, the army, and the judiciary and police. Lord Cornwallis, the architect of the Indian civil service, enforced strict Europeanization, excluding Indians from superior posts. This racially segregated service was designed to be efficient, but was rooted in the belief that Indians were corrupt, ensuring control remained in British hands. The army served a threefold purpose: conquest, defense, and suppression of internal revolts. This coercive tool was carefully engineered, with the officer corps exclusively British, and recruitment structured to prevent national unity among Indian sepoys. The British introduced legal codification and the rule of law. However, in practice, the system was expensive, complex, and overwhelmingly biased, favoring the rich over the poor. The police force, headed by British district superintendents, became a visible symbol of state power. The entire administrative and military structure served as the, quote, engine of extraction. The key economic goals were to maximize land revenue, transform India into a market for British goods, and secure raw materials for British industry, subordinating India's economy to Britain. The primary objective was extracting maximum revenue from the land. The Permanent Settlement of 1793 fixed revenue with zamindars. The Rayotwari settlement dealt directly with cultivators. The Mahalwari system constituted a hybrid balancing state and village-level administration. The British demand for land revenue was inflexible and exorbitant, collected in cash. This led to debt, land alienation, and stagnation, forcing peasants into a cycle of debt. As one observer noted, the government acted as a, quote, photos like, quote, from the Ganges, and squeezing it onto the banks of the Thames. The economy unraveled, leading to the ruin of Indian artisans. They suffered loss of patronage and unequal competition, as the Industrial Revolution flooded India with cheap, machine-made British goods. India was transformed from an exporter of manufactured goods to a supplier of raw materials. The, quote, economic drain of wealth was the transfer of India's resources to Britain without adequate return. This drain included, quote, home charges, private fortunes of officials, and company profits, representing the essence of colonial exploitation. Infrastructure development like railways served a dual imperative. They enabled rapid troop deployment for control and linked raw material sources to ports for extraction. The network was financed by Indian taxpayers, guaranteeing British private companies a profitable venture. The legacy included the economic subordination of India, the rise of a parasitic landlord class, and political unification under a uniform system. Ironically, the structure designed for perpetual rule created the conditions for a modern nationalist movement. By 1857, the architecture was under siege. A century of control and extraction created immense resentment among dispossessed rulers, impoverished peasants, ruined artisans, and alienated sepoys. The Revolt of 1857 was the violent culmination, leading to the end of company rule and the beginning of the formal British Raj. Thank you for watching this video on the structure of the British government and its economic policies in India.